Hello Gemini, how are you? This is Luke from LV Life and welcome to your tarot reading for 2024. I'm going to be shuffling 3 cards to begin with, which will represent your transition from 23 to 24. And I'm going to do 12 cards, one for each month of 24, and then 3 cards at the end as the overall summary. So this is for anyone with a sun, moon, or rising in Gemini. Let's just see how these jump out. Tend to shuffle until they jump out because I don't like drawing them linear from the deck. Okay, so if we start here, we have the first 3, which, as I said, are the overview of the transition from 23 to 24. So we start here with the 5 of Cups. Now the 5 can be a little bit troublesome, and perhaps in 23 you have had to allow some relationships to fall or to let go of. So here we have somebody that's got this black cloak and was looking a little bit sorrowful, and the cups around this person represent the relationships in their life. So 2 of them are standing and 3 of them are spilled over, and that's okay. So I guess the transition, or the way that it's a transition point here between the 2 years, is really about the letting go of some relationships, people, energies in your life. And I guess finding out what that's all about and why in 24. But of course, that stuff isn't easy, but often it's very necessary. So let's see what else comes up to connect the dots there. The middle card that we have here is the Fool card, and this is the Fool in reverse. So when you look at the Fool card, beautiful mini dress. I just love when we see the Fool, and the pages always have this flamboyant mini dress going on. But the Fool is no fool, right? So the Fool can look foolish to others, but he has this ultimate confidence, this ability to walk off the edge of this cliff without a care in the world, because he absolutely fundamentally knows he'll be fine. And the dog's totally following him, like the dog believes in him. So in this reverse position, I think that there's perhaps been a little bit of holding back, a little bit of a lack of belief in yourself, or perhaps even more so, fear of other people's judgment, which we'll come on to in a moment. So there's definitely been a holding back, and perhaps it's in relation to some of these relationships that you've had to let go. Perhaps some of these people have been a bit judgmental, or have had certain expectations of you that you're not fulfilling and don't actually want or care to fulfill. So let's move on and see how it all connects. So the Judgment card is what came up next, and it relates perfectly to this reverse Fool, right? Judgment is about, and the nudity in this card represents the fear of exposure, the fear of being vulnerable. And when we see this winged character, you might like to call it an angel. I personally look at these winged characters in the tarot as divine intervention. And I believe, and perhaps you believe similar, that we all live many different lives, and that, in some lives, we have a few things to learn. We have a few things on our timeline, a few people on our timeline. And I very much feel like this is a bit of a divine event happening for you. So when it comes to this transition between 23 and 24, I see that this is you overcoming that fear of being vulnerable, that fear of being truly who you are, that fear of what other people think, and that judgment. I really think that this is your transition from holding back for the sake of others to really letting go and being and sitting within your true self, without worrying about what those other people think. So yeah, I hope that that resonates so far. Now let's pull your 12 cards. I'll just move these out of the way. For months of 2024. So here we go for January. February, March, April, May, June, July. Sorry, this table's really shaky. August, September, October, November, December. Right, let's have a look here. So we start January with the Temperance card reversed. Again, another winged character right after the Judgment card here. But when you look at Temperance, there's quite a lot going on. Firstly, Temperance dipping their toes into the water here, that change of terrain from land to water. So I do think that it's a little bit about dipping your toes in and testing new things, testing new terrain. But more importantly, we see the pouring of water between two cups here. And that pouring of water between two cups is about learning to restore balance and harmony back into your life. I'm assuming that based on what we've just talked about, there's been an imbalance. There's been you spending your time people pleasing or trying to fit into other people's molds, and this is about restoring that. And what you can see in the background here is this path that leads up the mountain to the sun shining at the top of the mountain, but the sun's also shining like a halo around the head here. So it's very much about you now being on the right path, right? But you have to start dipping your toes in the water. So it's time to experiment and try new things in January. See what starts to feel right, see what starts to resonate with you and feel like it belongs with you in order to help restore that balance from all the time that you spent doing stuff that belongs to other people. Then we move into February and we've got the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords here is rushing into battle, right? The first thing that came to mind, and I try to work intuitively where I can, is as you're dipping your toes in the water in January, something's going to really resonate and stick with you. And you're going to want to rush in and learn and know and unpick and explore everything about that thing. So I really feel that it's kind of dipping the toes in the water in January and it's jumping in February. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing about what that might be. I mean, it's a white horse that's charging in here, so there's nothing that's going to be dark or dangerous, or you're not going into like a scary battle. It's just going to be like this. I'm going to use the word overwhelm, but in a really positive way, like overwhelming, eye-opening kind of experience of where's this been all my life, and I now need to know everything right now. So I feel like that's happening for you in February. It's quite exciting. And then we move on to March, and we have the Seven of Pentacles. And this is about really starting to see some of that effort create beautiful new things. It's like the fruits of your labor. So I think that as you start tiptoeing into the water, then you find your thing and really go for it, you're going to start seeing your life blossom and bloom in ways that it hasn't before. And everything that's gone in the past is going to suddenly start to feel worth it and like it made sense. Like the things didn't happen to you, but they happened for you because they've led you to something that's starting to blossom and bloom and grow. It'll still be early days, but I think you're going to feel really instant benefit from whatever it is that you're exploring in the beginning of 2024. We then move on to the Ace of Swords for April. And we have the Knight of Swords for February as you're rushing in to whatever this new thing is. But the Ace of Swords is very beautiful because, again, like this a bit like I said about the winged creature, the hand coming out of the cloud, again, I feel is like a gift from the universe, like something that's been waiting for you to be presented when you are ready. And so this is kind of your victorious moment of all of the battles and challenges that have happened in your life, or particularly in relation to the stuff that happened in 23 with having to let go of certain people or certain expectations from others. You're going to start feeling like you won the battle. And I think something's really going to present itself like an opportunity where you can almost wear that crown, where you can, it's not an I told you so thing, but you can look back at those people that you had to let go of, or those people that had different expectations for you. And you can say, it's working for me, I was right. And they'll start, if they're still in your life, they'll start seeing that you were right. So I think this is really nice. This is a victorious moment. And then in May, we come to the Five of Wands. Now, 5 again is a little bit of a disruptor. We had that with the 5 of Cups for 23. This came out reversed. So for me, that's about when people, like this group of people are fighting with wands, but they're not swords, they're wands, so they're harmless. It's almost like the nonsense of life, the meaningless battles, the gossip, the trolling, the getting involved in drama, all of that stuff. But it's internal. So this is really about your mindset. So May is very much about you overcoming the mindset that kind of monkey chatter we call it in yoga, that noise that just tells you, that judges you, that says things are right or wrong or whatever. It's overcoming that. And there's this wonderful phrase that I use a lot when I'm doing tarot, which is tell the negative committee that meets inside your head to sit down and shut up. And this is very much what this is about. It's really taking control of that negative committee in your mind, because that negative committee has come from a place of preservation and protection in the past. It's learnt things and it wants to protect you. So it can be useful, but sometimes it can be overbearing and it can just be noise and it can be not helpful at all. So it's time for you to really start taking control of that internal committee. Using the stuff that's valid and telling the rest of the committee to sit down and shut up. And then we move on to June. June is the Three of Wands. Again, wands are creation or manifestation. In reverse, the Three of Wands is like learning new things. This could be, if it were upright, physically, like, starting a course or studies, or, taking a new route of just learning something new. But actually, up in its reverse position, it's like self-exploration, learning new ways to think, new ways to feel, new ways to understand yourself and the world and how you relate to it all. So there's going to be a lot, I think, more spiritual exploration there, is what I would say. More deep diving into what is it really all about and who am I? And I very much think that that's a big part of your month of June. And then when we move into July, we've got the Eight of Wands. Can't pick it up, one sec. Which generally means that everything's pointing in the right direction, like you're doing great things. But in reverse, I think you're going to have a wobble. I don't think it's a bad wobble, but I think you're going to start recognizing that all of the things that you thought you were, or that you thought you wanted, or that you thought you wanted to be in the world, they're not actually in alignment with the truth of who you are. So the universe always has a greater idea on imagination than we do. And I think once you start exploring things, like this, like tarot, like anything that's more kooky or spiritual or connected or mindful, I think we jump straight in and go, yes, 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 I want this for my life and that for my life, and I'm going to turn it all around and I'm going to get my vision board and everything else, and that's wonderful. But often on that deep exploration, we realize that that's all our ego mind. And that's everything that we think we want for ourselves. And I think that you're going to get to this point in July where you're like, actually, is this really who I am? Like, is this the truth of who I am? And I think you're going to start exploring where you're meant to be rather than where you think you want to be. And it's all going to be deep and meaningful and spiritual. But I don't think it's going to be exactly what you thought perhaps in January when you started dipping your toes in the water. I think there's going to be a bit of a revelation about what it is that you really want and really want to be and how you want to show up in the world. So it's going to be really positive, but it's not going to be your first thought. It's going to be a more mindful, deeper connected thought process that comes through you. And then, so when was that? June, July, August. We've got this 10 of Cups, which is like the Happy Families card. Effectively, it's completion on a relationships perspective. But in this reverse position, it's completion on an emotional perspective. So I really think that this exploration that goes on through the summer for you is going to lead you to this place of really deeply knowing who you are and why. And I think it's going to be really wonderful, and it's going to feel like coming home. It's going to feel like completion for you, because it's going to start to make a lot more sense than it did when you were just dipping your toes in January. And then we moved, it's all wands for you. We moved to September. 2 of Wands in reverse. Look at this. The world is in your hands, but it's in reverse, and the 2 is like having a choice. So I think you're going to have decisions to make in September. You're going to have a choice of 2 things, maybe perhaps 2 paths to go down, perhaps 2 mindsets. Which one do you most resonate with? I'm leaning more towards mindsets because it's reversed, but I really do think that you have the opportunity to do or to think or feel like the freedom. I think the word freedom is more important, to think or feel or do whatever it is that you wish. Excuse me. But I think that it's going to come down to maybe 2 things. Maybe, do I believe this or do I believe this? Do I want to take this path? Do I want to take that path? And I think the point is that either way, it doesn't matter, but you have these options, and what a wonderful position to be in. So I think that it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter what you choose, but I'm excited that you get this whole new expansive mindset that now gives you options to consider what it is that you want and want to be and want from your life and everything else. So it's quite exciting to have these options. It's going to be like 2 mindsets though, I think. So especially as it sits below that 5 of Wands with the negative committee in your mind. Perhaps this is like a science spirituality debate, in your head. Like, but it doesn't have to be one or the other. Actually, it could be both, and you could be the person that finds the connection or the bridge between the 2, because ultimately it's all the same thing, right? But maybe it's you discovering that. And then we move into October, and we've got the Page. Now, I talked about the fabulous mini dress of the Fall earlier. Now, welcome to the Page, the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords, and this is in reverse as well. I want you to think of a page a little bit like an intern. So we've got the Page, the Knight, the Queen, and the King. And the Page is like stepping into something that's new to you. Not that's new. You're not going in as a newbie, but you're going into something that's new for you. But again, I think it's all this internal stuff. It's these thought processes, these beliefs, these feelings, about what it's all about and what you're all about. And I think that you're stepping into something a little bit now. I said about that decision, and then once you've kind of cemented whether it's one or the other or it's a combination of the both, you're going to step into it kind of really excited, but a little bit tentative, a little bit nervous, but with optimism, very much like an intern would. So yeah, I think you're starting to explore really good stuff, but it's going to bring challenges, internal mindset challenges, because you're going to just be uncovering yourself on a deeper level. And I think you're going to have to look back at the past and reflect upon some of your traumas or some of the more trickier parts of your life, and find the lesson in those, the why did it happen for me lessons, not the why did it happen to me lessons. So that's interesting. And then we move into November, and we've got more wands. Hey, this is great, right? This Six of Wands, because like people are going to start getting you. Like they're going to start seeing it, and they're going to be on board, and they're going to be celebrating with you. When you start to really step into yourself and own yourself, the right people are going to be are going to want to be around you, are going to want to show up for you, are going to want to uplift you, and praise you, and just generally support you. So when we look at 23 and perhaps having to let go of some of those relationships or expectations of others, 24 is all about getting to yourself of a place where actually they're going to celebrate you. It could be the same people that you've had to let go, maybe they'll come back, or it could be a new crowd or group or community. But definitely when you become in alignment with yourself, the right people become in alignment with you. So that's very exciting. And then we move to December. Again, these cups, these cheeky cups that are all about setting relationship boundaries in reverse. This is what we just talked about. People are going to start celebrating with you, right? But sometimes remember that when you're successful, people want to jump back in. They want to be or have a part of you because you suddenly got success. So this is about being selective of the people that you allow back in. So here we've got all of these cups being lined up, and then the person in the background is walking away, but they're keeping those cups stacked up, meaning they know those cups, they trust those cups, those relationships, those people, and they know that when they turn their back, those people aren't gonna double cross them or stab them in the back or whatever. You know, these people are the right people, they're the good people, the good relationships. And you can turn away and you can walk away and wander off and, you know, explore the world and then come back, and those people are still there, stood up, got your back. So just, and this is in reverse, right? So it's about, as a little word of warning, to just be really cautious about who you're allowing to uplift and support you. So I hope that that resonated. Now let me pull 3 extra cards just as a general summary for the year. That's really interesting based on what we were just talking about. 2 of Cups. Knight of Cups is all relationship stuff. Both upright. I'm not having all those, too many. Have this one though. Queen of Swords. Right, 2 of Cups, reconciliation. We've literally just been talking about the relationships of 23 that you had to let go, potentially creeping back in November, December. Reconciliation. One person is reaching forward to another, right? And again, this is divinely orchestrated. I think that an olive branch will be extended, whether that's you extending it or somebody else extending it to you. And I think that that's a good thing. I think that the reconciliation here is particularly important. Again, the mini dress. So actually, we've had the Fool come up and we've had the Page come up. So I think this is you extending an olive branch to somebody else. So perhaps part of your healing journey, perhaps part of your understanding who you are and why stuff happened for you, is to really understand the people that have betrayed you or made you feel uncomfortable in the past, and perhaps learning to practice forgiveness. I think there's an opportunity for reconciliation, but I think you need to initiate it. So I think that's important. And the Knight of Cups is then winning that battle, right? So that is a victorious thing to do. That is a really healthy thing for you to do, not only for the relationship with this person, but also for your relationship with yourself and your ability to move forward. It's victorious. And then the Queen of Swords is finding that mastery, finding that throne that you deserve to sit on. We had the Ace of Swords, this is the Queen, but look, the Queen rises above the clouds. The Queen rises above the nonsense, the darkness, the battles, and has this higher perspective. So this is you. You are this Queen gaining a higher perspective over the year, understanding things from a different plane, from a different place of having done some inner work, having figured out how we're all connected, having understood, trying to understand why we exist. Right, all of that's going to put you in a higher perspective, so that you're going to be able to reconcile relationships without them being or continue to be turbulent, or without them being judgmental or having expectations of each other. But just to really approach these things from a place of healing and growth. So, yeah, I hope that resonated. Please do leave me comments or message me to let me know, and including throughout the year, like watch this again next year and just see if it happened, right? Because I just love to know what's going on with people. I'm going to leave in the description and comments how to contact me, because I'm also doing this reading as a personalised reading for £24 for 2024. So if you'd like to have that reading with me, then please do just reach out to me. And also, I'm running Learn Tarot with Luke class on the 4th of February. That will be at my studio in Fareham. But I can also do, that course isn't online, but I can do your tarot readings online, via video call if you want to do that. Or we could even arrange a one-to-one tuition. So just give me a shout, and I very much look forward to hearing all about your 2024. Take care. Bye-bye.